Morning, Owls. We're going to go over the commonly missed math questions from the ACT practice test that the juniors took on Wednesday. Your seminar teacher should have already passed your answer sheets back to you with your scores. So on these sheets, on one side are your scores. On the back side are all the questions, right? And if you got the question right or if you got it wrong. And we're going to go through the top 10 of the questions that were missed. The first question that was missed a lot was number 19. Only 34% of people got it right. Now, before we do this one, we need to remember a compass. It goes north, south, east, and west. And so this person starts by walking 8 yards east, and then 6 yards north, right? And then 12 yards east, and then 5 yards north. And they kind of want to know between these 2 points, what he traveled. So here's what some people did. Some people added all these numbers up because that's what they walked, right? And that gave them an answer of 31. And so they thought letter E was correct as they saw it. But you got to be careful. It says how many yards less would he walk if he walked a straight line there? If he doesn't follow this path and does what he did, it's 31. But to figure this out, we need to draw a right triangle. And 12 and 8 make this distance here 20. 5 and 6 make this distance 11. So we've got a little Pythagorean theorem here. 20 squared plus 11 squared equals c squared. And if we solve for c, we wind up with 22.8, which we happen to see that answer there also, but that's not correct. They want to know how much less would he have walked. If he follows his path, it's 31. If he were to just hike the straight line, it is 22.8. And if we subtract those, we wind up with 8.2. And that's our answer, letter A. Bit of a stinker on this one. Okay, number 20. Only 34% of people got this right. The key on this is to draw yourself a rectangle and put in the measurements, right? It's 8 1/3 feet. So 8 1/3 feet, and it's 10 feet. Now the problem is these tiles are 20 inches wide and long. So I need to turn these into inches. So you remember 10 times, there's 12 inches in a foot. So if I were to do 10 times 12, this is really going to be 120 inches. And if I did 8 1/3 times 12, I would wind up with 100 inches. Okay, well, let's think about how many tiles it would take to go across. If there's 120 of them, and each tile is 20 inches wide, I believe it would take a total of 6 of them, right? We would have 6 tiles going across. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Because each one of those is 20. 20, 20, 20, 20. Altogether would give us 100. Well, how many tiles up and down would it be? Well, it's going to be 5 tiles because we know that 5 times 20 is 100. So how many tiles do we need total? Well, 6 times 5 is 30. So our answer is 30. Now, there are other ways to go about this one, but I'm going to stick with this way. Okay, our next question was 17. 38% of people got it right. We're asked to find out what the sine of A is. So the first thing you need to remember in trigonometry, there's this nice acronym that tells us all the trig values, what they are. Sine, cosine, tangent. Well, sine is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So if I'm looking at angle A, because that's what we're dealing with, opposite is 7. It's opposite over the hypotenuse. Well, I think 9 is the hypotenuse. So the answer is 7 over 9. So if you did not know SOHCAHTOA, this would be a really hard question to do. Okay, 24. 39% of people got this right. We're trying to find out what's the smallest positive integer that can be divided by these two. And many people pick the number 5 because 5 does divide into those. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to think of, hey, what's a big number that both of those values would divide into? So there are two ways to do this one. One way is to list all the multiples of 15, and then list all the multiples of 35. And I notice the smallest answer in there that's in both of them is 105. Now, another way to do this is to use your calculator. Start with the number 5. Does 5 divide into 15? Yes. Does 5 divide into 35? Yes. Okay, let's try the next biggest number. I'm sorry. Does, scratch what I said there. This is the best way to go about it. Okay, question number 29. 29 says we've got a square where the sides have a length of 12. Now the area of that would be 144. Okay. Now they say there's another rectangle that has the same area, and one of the sides is equal to 8. We have to figure out what the other number is. That's what this question's dealing with, right? So we had to come up with the 144. A couple ways to do this. You could use your calculator and say, okay, is 8 times 12 equal to 144? Now, is 8 times 16 equal to 144? Is 8 times 18 equal to 144? In fact, 18 is the right answer. You could also just set up an equation, right? 8x equals 144, and then divided both sides by 8, and that would have worked out. Okay, next one is number 30. 40% of people got this one right. So it says the average of a list of 4 numbers is 92. So the 4 numbers I'm going to say are A, B, C, and D. And when I divide them by 4 to get an average, I get 92. Now they're saying a new list. So they're making a new list now. It has the same first 3 numbers. So it has A plus B plus C. But the 4th number in the original list is 40. So this D, they're telling us, is really 40. And the 4th number in the new list is 48. They want to know, what is this equal? Well, if I look at this problem here, if I do 4 times 92, I'm going to get A plus B plus C plus a 40 equaling 368. Well, subtract 40 from both sides, and we get A plus B plus C is equal to 328. Oh, that's how much A plus B plus C is. So we've got 328 plus 48, all divided by 4. And if we worked it out, I believe we get a 94. Now, there are other ways to do this question, and this happens a lot on the ACT. Many ways to do a problem. This is but one of the ways to try it out. Okay, question number 20. 45% of people got it right. We are given a formula. Z equals x minus mu over omega. And they tell us mu is equal to 78, omega is equal to 6, and z is equal to 2. So I plug those numbers in. And they want to find out, what is x? Well, multiply both sides by 6. We get 12 equals x minus 78. Add 78 to both sides, and we get 90, which is the right answer. Okay, question number 21. 44% of people got this correct, so it was missed by a lot. This is a circle. Now in a circle, we know that all sides are equal. So the question says, A, is this an acute triangle? Yes, I see an acute triangle. We're trying to find what is not there. Now also, equilateral triangle. Well, this is an equilateral triangle because that angle is 60. That means these two angles are also 60. so it can't be that. Is there an isosceles triangle? There's one right here, right? Two sides are equal. Can't be there. Is there a right triangle? Yep, there's the right angle. There's a right triangle. Well, scaling's what the answer has to be because that's the only thing that's left, right? Scaling means no sides are equal to each other, right? Scaling. Okay, just about done here. On this question, to solve this, well, you distribute first, right? And so that gives us negative 12x plus 15 equals 2 minus 10x. And we'll probably add a 10x to both sides. And that gives us negative 2x plus 15 is equal to 2. Subtract 15 from both sides. Gives us negative 2x equals negative 13. Divide by negative 2. And we get our answer. Now those negatives will cancel. So we have 13 over 2, letter K. And then the last one was this. This one, man, we almost got half the people right. So you've got to multiply all of this out. And there's lots of ways to multiply it out. Foiling, you could draw. By the way, this was the most commonly selected wrong answer. If I draw a box for this, I know some people like to multiply this way. And I think it might illustrate what's happening. Foiling is by far the fastest way to go. We just multiply, right? 3c times 4c is 12c squared. And we notice they all have 12c squared in them. 3c times a negative 3d is negative 9cd. D times negative 3d is negative 3d squared. I could get rid of this one and this one. 4c times a d is 4cd. Now if I add those two up, right, we're going to wind up with a negative 5cd minus 3d squared. So our answer is letter C. Again, the common choice was letter E, but I think you can tell you're kind of missing out on a few pieces here. You're missing out on the OI, right, in the FOIL. Okay, so that was our top 10 questions that were missed. Keep going over the ones that you're not sure of how to do. We've got a PDF of the actual ACT you all took on Google Classroom. Feel free to use that. Talk to your math teachers. They will be love to help you out with some of these questions you're not sure about. Thank you very much for paying attention.